From the crack of dawn to the campfire at night. Whether you're in the woods, on the water, or just dreaming about your next adventure, you're in the right place. This is Tailgate Outdoors.
Bow season is in full swing right now. Hey, if you've had any luck hitting the woods and have gotten that deer, send us a picture, all right? So we can share it up on the socials. Do a little brag board and such. So do that. Hit me up. I know some of you've had. I've seen it. You've told me. But I want to see the pictures so we can put it up and brag it for the rest of the world to see. So, hey, let's talk some more hunting. We've got our guy, Mr. Jake Bolks, joining us here this morning, DNR warden for the great state of Wisconsin. Jake, how you doing, man?
Doing great as usual. How are you doing?
Not bad, man. Not bad. I mean, the weather, it's cool mornings and such, but then it heats up a little bit in the afternoon, so it doesn't quite, I don't know, it's like the false fall kind of going on right now.
Oh, yeah, it's kind of dancing with some fall weather except for the afternoons here. But if you are getting out in the mornings, it feels a little bit more like fall for a good early morning bow hunt or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Have you been seeing any nice deer people tagging out early so far in bow season?
Yeah, there have been some nice deer already. I think some people work hard all summer with their food plots or just scouting public land and stuff to track a deer and figure out where they're going and moving and have some success that first weekend or first couple weeks. So definitely seen some success already, which is pretty cool.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely. So let's get right to it, shall we, with some questions here. So Jake from State Farm, our good friend Jake, says, am I able to stand on the bottom of a lake bed and hunt ducks behind a panel blind and not be within 3 feet from shore? Say there's a sandbar 150 yards away offshore in less than 2 feet of water. Am I able to put a panel blind out there and stand and hunt behind it?
Yeah, so the short answer to that question is no. So there's a lot of open water restrictions throughout the state. Part of the question that is allowable is anyone can hunt standing on like a lake bed or riverbed. You can walk in anywhere and hunt if you're just standing there with like yourself and a gun, throw some decoys out, that's fine. But you can't ever hunt in an open water. If you're standing on the bottom with the aid of a blind, you can't do that. So you couldn't walk out to that sandbar and put up that panel blind and sit behind it. You could walk out there, stand on it, and just not move and try to shoot some ducks or waterfowl. But you can't put that blind out, that panel blind or anything, unless you're within 3 feet of the shoreline.
Okay, I'm glad
The main point of that, is if you're utilizing any sort of boat or blind, unless you're like in the middle of the Mississippi in some certain areas, or like on Big Green Lake or Green Bay, you always have to hunt within 3 feet of the shoreline. And then there's some other regulations like the vegetation that's surrounding you must conceal at least 50% of you or your boat from one direction, and yada, yada. So they really want you to tuck into that shoreline.
All right. I'm glad you could, because that was a lot in that question, but you knew exactly what Jake was talking about.
If you break it down, it's actually, if you do look in the regulations, there's an open water restrictions part under the migratory birds, and it actually, there's a bullet point right there that answers that question perfectly. So you can hunt, anyone can walk out and hunt, but if you're using a blind or boat, you got to be within 3 feet of the shoreline.
Gotcha. And I've seen too, like it looks like twice in the last couple of weeks, if you go to the DNR website, it's just a reminder for waterfowl hunters for boat and hunt safely too. So I mean, with like changing temperatures and water and all that sort of stuff, so there's a lot of safety reminders, it looks like.
Yeah. Yep. Nope. You can really attribute the same stuff we talk about in the summer with boating. You can attribute that with duck hunting as well. Making sure you got your PFDs or your life jackets, and they're, accessible and they work and they're not, they're the right size. Make sure you got your lights on when you're going out in the morning or coming out in the dark. Making sure you're not drunk. Making sure all that kind of stuff. There's a lot of boating safety aspects to duck hunting. more than just, your hunting regulations.
Mm-hmm. Jake, I know it's next weekend, but I think it's good to bring up now. But we got the Hunters with Disabilities hunts coming up starting next weekend. And so this is not a statewide season. There's more information to kind of look at online. But essentially, correct me if I'm wrong, it's for landowners who are willing to sponsor hunters with disabilities on their land, correct?
Yeah, no, that's a good one to bring up. So the gun deer hunt for hunters with disabilities does start like the 4th, I think. Is that next weekend?
Yep.
Yeah, next weekend, like you said. Runs for a full 9 days. But you have to be registered in a program, and in that program they're going to have specific private properties that are enrolled in it. They follow all the same sort of gun hunting rules. You got to wear orange and stuff like that. But it's a special hunt for hunters with disabilities. It's not a disabled hunt. Like if you have a Class A or B disabled license that you got by going to the DNR office and just turning in some paperwork, that does not give you the right or privilege to go out and shoot a deer with your rifle in October. And we do run into that from time to time, or we get questions. So we love getting questions. We love people, if they have questions on it, to give us a call. But yeah, this is a special hunt for people that they do a lot of work prior to this week to get sponsors, to get land, to get the right people in the right areas to have a successful hunt and do stuff that normally those people can never do. So it's an awesome program, but it's not just for your run-of-the-mill Class A, Class B disabled hunting license for us to go out and just shoot them.
Gotcha. And I know the weekend after that, it's always a popular one because it's the youth deer hunt coming up here.
Hunt.
So just, maybe if there's any parents kind of listening and such, maybe can you kind of break it down? What's involved? What do the kids have to do? Do they have to have an adult with them? Is it their a rifle license that they have to use? Can you just kind of give us a little bit of a preview with that?
Yeah, no, the youth gun hunt it's a fun time, but there are usually the kids, you're kind of just they're there, they're hunting, they're learning. You're not wrong. Like if there's some adults listening that are taking their kids or grandkids or friends' kids out, it's important that, every week I hit it, that you open up the regulations and take a look at it, because I actually followed up with an investigation yesterday on someone that was bear hunting with their son, who was 10, and they didn't have any hunting licenses, and their kid had mentored, so they were in a bunch of violations for bear hunting. Simply they could have read the regulations and understood it. But long story short, for that youth gun deer hunt, it's for anyone that's 15 years or younger. So you got to be 15 years or younger. This one is open statewide, so it's not like you can go on any property. It doesn't have to be like those participating properties. And you have to be accompanied. So all the youth hunters have to be accompanied by an adult or parent or guardian or whatever. It's not when you turn 14, technically, you can go out and hunt by yourself. Like a parent can drop their son or daughter off at age 14 as long as they have hunter safety and they can hunt on their own. But part of the requirements of this special youth hunt is that even those 14 and 15-year-olds have to be accompanied by someone, by a guardian, by a mentor, because it's kind of the spirit of the hunt is that you're doing it with an adult, so they're learning stuff like that. If their kids are hunting under the mentorship program, like they're 10 and they don't have hunter safety yet, as a mentor, like as the parent, you have to have a hunting license as well. So even if you don't plan on deer hunting, you just have to buy some sort of hunting license, whether it's small game or deer or anything like that. And I think it goes without being said, but this is for kids that are 15 years and younger. There's no group deer hunting with the adults. It's not a time for the adults or guardians to shoot. It's just for the youth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Hey, you mentioned bear hunting. I do want to mention this because in zones A, B, and D, there's a little bit of a change starting next week on the 1st, right? With the aid of bait, with all other legal methods, but not using dogs, correct?
Correct. So it kind of switches back to during the season they kind of switch around. We started the season with the 8 dogs only, and then it switches back to not using dogs and stuff like that. So just be mindful of that. And I know if people that are listening are hounders, they're pretty up to date with when they know they can run dogs, when they know they can train, when they know all that kind of stuff. So we're getting to that point. We're a couple weeks away from the end of the bear season. So for the most part, we're going to see that kind of winding down.
Mm-hmm.
I did see some numbers, some preliminary numbers come across my computer, and it looks like we're having a generally average season in most zones. We're not killing like a new record amount of bears, but we're definitely not shooting like under the, having kind of a scarce year. It's kind of an average year so far on the bear harvest, but with the last 2 weeks to go, you never know what will happen.
Mm-hmm. And then coming up on the 30th, which is just a few days away, that would be the end of the lake sturgeon season for hook and line, correct?
Yep, end of September. So there's definitely been some big fish caught. I think we're at least, the last time I checked, at least like 10 or a dozen 64-inch plus fish that have come out of the river.
Wow.
That are registered. As a reminder, if you do try to get out and do it, you got to print off that hard copy tag before you go, and you got to get them registered. I know the Doe Dodge Inn in town is the one registering them and stuff, and so you got to get them in. You got to get them in person registered.
Okay. All right. Because any other reminders before, or any other tips or talking points before I let you go here this morning, bud?
No, just it's just like I hate to beat a dead horse sometimes, but it just seems like we continually see people forgetting to buy licenses, people forgetting some of the smaller. We all know, most people know, like, okay, I want to shoot a deer, I probably need a license. Or I'm going to, I can't shoot a deer at 2 a.m, but, they don't really think about what time you need to be done hunting or what time you can hunt. They just kind of go until it's what they think is too dark or bright enough in the morning. So I would just really encourage people this fall, as fall's kind of coming upon us here, is to sit down, read those regs a little bit, remember all those little things, because where people are getting plenty of tickets, especially this summer, this fall already, is like the little things, like double checking that you actually have your federal duck stamp, double checking that you actually have hunting licenses, double checking you actually know when you can stop hunting in the evening and you're not, shooting a deer too late or shooting a duck too late. Making sure your boat's registered for boat hunting, making sure your UTV is registered when you take it out this fall to go, or your ATV to go deer hunting. All those little things are ways that you don't think about it when you're getting ready to go hunt, but it's those little things when we're patrolling that we see, just like when you're driving on the highway and state patrol or the county pulls you over for, expired tabs or, having whatever wrong with your vehicle or running a stop sign. We're out doing the same thing, and sometimes those little things get missed. So we don't necessarily we don't go out every day just hoping to write tickets. We just want people to be safe and be in compliance. So I just really encourage everyone to take the time to double check those little things before they go out this fall.
Good stuff, dude. Hey, we appreciate the time as always, man. Enjoy the rest of the week, and we'll catch up with you next week, okay?
Yeah, no, it should be a lot of fun. Should be a good weekend. So appreciate you having me on. As always, it's a great time.
Awesome. Thanks, bud. There you go. Jake Bolks, Conservation Warden for the state of Wisconsin.